In today's video, we'll be going over the most significant levels for Bitcoin that you need to keep your eyes on. We'll also be going over the most important news and how it impacts the market. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. First of all, taking a look at Bitcoin, as we can see yesterday, we had a very strong daily close right above this very important orange zone that we've been discussing on the channel for quite a while. Now, if we can close today above that level and hold it as support, it would be extremely positive for Bitcoin. What we can see here now is that on the daily, we did come back down to retest this purple line over here, which is actually the weekly open. And now we have since pumped quite a little bit. Right now at the time of recording, just a little bit of a red candle for Bitcoin. But if we are to hold this level as support, I would be longing Bitcoin up until 91.8K, and there's nothing but air towards this level if we can hold it as support. Currently, we are still within the level, so you do need to be a little bit cautious. If we are to potentially move lower here, the main area that I'm looking for with a lot of confluence is the monthly open. And not only because it's the monthly open, but because we also have the CME gap as discussed in yesterday's video. That CME gap is right around $84,000. And if we go back to the Bitcoin chart, what do you see here? Right around $84,000 is the monthly open. So if you're a little bit more of a patient trader and you don't want to just see this level hold as support, but you'd rather see the monthly level and the CME gap get filled, it would be around here to long Bitcoin. Now, if you want to trade this price action, you can sign up with me to Weeks, which is the first link in my description down below. They even have a great 50% deposit bonus, which means that if you deposit $2,000 to your account, you get $1,000 back for trading purposes. Now, I know that some of you mentioned to me that you couldn't use Weeks, which is why I've also partnered with BitFi. And if you'd like to sign up to this exchange, which is another very solid option for trading crypto, you can sign up with the second link in my description down below. You also get a 15% cashback bonus. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. This is a great alternative, and I trade on here myself as well. So back to Bitcoin, we have all of these important levels to keep your eyes on. Now, once again, for me to go full bull mode, it would be to reclaim 91.8K. I will keep re-emphasizing this because we have new subscribers coming to the channel, but this is the most important level to reclaim. In the short term, of course, we can trade this price action, and the best possible trade, in my opinion, would be to hold the monthly open as support and to get that CME gap filled before we can potentially move on higher. Now, if this level does break and we go below the CME gap, that is when we have to start considering new lows for Bitcoin, because if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, we cannot argue with the fact that this is still very much in a bearish trend. Whenever you're unsure, I would highly recommend that you go ahead and zoom out, because as we can see, we are still very much in this downtrend. We do need to reclaim those key levels that I discussed, but until then, I will not be going full bull. Now, why is Bitcoin pumping even more? Well, the positive news now is that the S&P 500 has started to reclaim the 200-day moving average as support. On the daily right now, we are above that level, which is extremely positive because we discussed this concept a few weeks ago, but basically, there's two sides to the S&P 500. If we lose the 200-day moving average, that is when we can see an even more severe correction, which would naturally impact the crypto market. But the times that we did go below that level and we popped back up, confirming it as support, we can see multi-week uptrends for the S&P 500, which, as we know, can be very positive for Bitcoin. So right now, Bitcoin and the S&P 500 are heavily correlated. So if the S&P 500 continues to go on higher and higher, we should be expecting Bitcoin to do the same. Let's hope that we can close several days above this blue line, and it will be very bullish for crypto. Outside of that, and back to Bitcoin, something that I found extremely interesting is that the 2021 price action fractal is playing out. What we can see here, according to Wayne, is he took the 2021 top and overlaid it to where we currently are now. And it would suggest that Bitcoin could go back and tag the lows before potentially putting in a double top towards the end of the year, as we saw in 2021. If this plays out, it would prove that we're definitely in a simulation, because imagine just taking this and replicating it to a T. Now, Only time will tell if this can actually play out, but I thought it was very interesting to consider, and this might mean that we're not quite in the clear yet for Bitcoin, which is why I always go back to needing to reclaim these next levels, which is 91.8K. In the short term, obviously we're always trading, and you can make significant profits trading these short-term price fluctuations, but in the long term right now, this is still a bearish trend, and I'm hoping that we can reclaim, the key levels before we potentially move on higher. And something that I posted about before recording this video on X is the fact that a Russian senator came out and said that US and Russia did not agree on a joint statement on Monday after 12 hours of talks in Saudi Arabia due to Ukraine's position, according to the IFAX reports. This is not necessarily good for crypto, so we need to be paying attention to these political events. If you want the latest updates on news or anything alike, make sure to follow me on X. I'm posting about it the second that the reports came out, so you won't want to miss out because it can actually affect your trades. Now, something a lot more positive is that BlackRock actually launched their Bitcoin ETPs in Europe today. Super bullish news for all Europeans. Something else, which is more positive news that I have to share with you, is that Trump Media and Crypto.com are set to launch ETFs, which would be absolutely massive. An ETF under the president's name. And as we can see here in the White House, the CEO of Crypto.com meeting Donald Trump. And naturally, when this comes out, we can see that Crow, the native token for Crypto.com, pumped 25% today. Now, some more bullish news. The Dogecoin Foundation established a Doge reserve, buying 10 million Doge tokens. Dogecoin didn't pump that much, around 5% on the day, but still something that you do need to consider if you're trading these altcoins. And for Ethereum, I just thought I would go back to the ETFs, and what we can see is that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 consecutive days of outflows for the Ethereum ETFs. And I believe if we go back, it's actually 13 consecutive days. And yesterday we saw 0. No outflows, no inflows. I read somewhere on X that someone said this is super bullish, but guys, until we start to see significant inflows into the Ethereum spot ETF, it's showing that there's not that much interest at the moment, despite all the institutional use cases for Ethereum. As we reported in yesterday's video, BlackRock holding over $1 billion worth of Ethereum in their build fund. Now, back to Bitcoin before we close out this video. We have the key levels that we're looking at to hold as support. Right now, we are trying to hold this orange zone. Let me go back to my thesis here just to remind you. Basically, what we have for the conditions for me to be bullish again. Reclaiming the 200-day moving average, which, if I show you on the chart here, we have done successfully thus far. Then we also have a reclaim of the 86.5K to the 87.5K zone, which is this orange box over here. Super important level because this is where we consolidated before we made the Bitcoin range that we want to get back into. And then the next thing, the Bitcoin range. 91.8K is the key level that you want to target. And this would also put us within reach of the yearly open for Bitcoin, which was right around $93,300. But ultimately, if we can make it above 91.8K and hold it as support, I would think that Bitcoin would go ahead and put in a new all-time high, and my bearish thesis would be invalidated. Until then, we're trading this price action, making some solid profits on Weeks and on BitFi. Again, if you want to sign up to those exchanges, you can sign up. The first 2 links in my description down below. But yeah, just trading this range is exactly what we're doing as we wait for the Bitcoin price action to develop further. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we get some more tariffs by Trump to potentially knock Bitcoin lower, or perhaps he continues to soften his stance on the tariffs and Bitcoin will have the fuel it needs to move on higher and reclaim these key levels. And that sums up today's video. Some very important levels that you need to keep your eyes on if you're trading the Bitcoin price action. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.